Well, Aquaba, bienvenue, bienvenidos. How is everybody doing tonight? It's story time, yes, with Diane Dirkson. How do you do? This long time, girl, me never see you know. Come make we chat, story. Well, would you believe it? So I gave my word that I would do this quickly before it fizzled out of your minds. But I must encourage you to watch part one. And point of correction, it is not strange love, it is strong love. So I beg your pardon. Mr. Donovan Chin is the author, and he reminded me, Diane, you make a mistake. It's not strange love, it's strong love. So we want to thank Mr. Chin for sharing his stories on my YouTube channel. So go on, everybody. How about the weather, the up and down bipolar weather? It a get to no yet. You can't put where the winter clothes. No, can't put on the winter clothes. You have to have the winter and summer together because it is still spring and winter. So we call it springter. Right? You can't put away the winter clothes. So keep it out while you enjoy the few little hot days, and then you go right back to the court. That me say. Anyway, I don't want to waste time and jibber jabber and chat because I want you to get into part two of Strong Love by Donovan Chin. Okay? All right, so where we continued the last week, fell off the last time is when this Mr. Roland is so controlling over his wife, and yet still him still a look smarty upon the road. You see a man wicked? After them love accuse you, but them a do what them know want you for do. Boy, may I tell you, some of them wicked and then say woman wicked. Anywho's, we're going to get back into the story because that is another debate for another segment. Yes. What you don't like for yourself, don't do it to others. Part two. All right. So we left off when he was chasing that chick down. Well, as soon as he got in and closed the car door, that's after him did I look at that woman when Lisa never did it. His wife Lisa walked out of the store looking sexy with her hair and nails freshly done. She was wearing a white pants, complementing the shape of her beautiful body with a short red blouse slightly below her full breast, revealing her flat belly. As she walked to her car, a gentleman came out of the grocery store next door and looked at her and said, "Thank you for adding your lovely presence into my visual world today, pretty lady." Lisa smiled and politely said, "Thank you," as she continued to walk to her car. The man walked away down the street. Roland saw her smiling after the man spoke to her and got mad. He drove up to Lisa as she opened her car door and honked his horn. Lisa looked up and said, "Hey baby, what's up?" Roland, looking very upset, rolled down his window and said, "Come here," and opened his passenger door, signaling for Lisa to get in. She walked over and got into her husband's car, and while sitting, she tried to make a joke to change his mood. "How you know I was there? You was watching me?" Roland got even more upset and said, "Stop chat foolishness. Who was watching you? Watching you for what?" Lisa's smile disappeared as she noticed he was getting more upset. She replied, "Baby, What's wrong? I was only joking. I don't run joke like that, him say. Anyone here you would believe that I am really watching you for truth. Lisa got annoyed and said, "What people? It's just me and you here." Roland slammed his hand on the steering wheel. "Listen, don't say anything else. You are pissing me off right now. Just shut up, okay?" Lisa folded her arms with her head down as she lowered her voice and softly said, "Okay." Then she put her hands over her mouth as she remembered that she has just been ordered to shut up. Roland turned his head swiftly and stared at her for a few seconds. Lisa felt the anger and said apologetically, I'm sorry." Roland leaned back his seat. Then he sat up straight, looked through the window, and said, "Get out." Lisa quickly opened the door and exited the car. She looked back at him and said, "See you at home, baby." Poor Lisa. Roland continued looking through the window, ignoring her. He heard the door close, then he turned to look at her as she walked away. Lisa looked back at him. Roland quickly looked away, pretending that he was not watching her. Lisa got into her car and drove off. Roland followed her for 2 blocks, and then he turned off. Later that evening after dinner, Roland was watching TV in the living room. Lisa was washing the dishes. She was wearing just her bra and the same pants she wore to the hairdresser. Roland accidentally spilled some of the wine he was drinking and went to the kitchen to get some paper towel and noticed her from behind. As she continued to do the dishes, he stood there looking at her round, firm derriere. The tight pants highlighted every detail of her physique. He walked up behind her, kissing her on her neck. Lisa said, "Come on, baby, not now. I'm washing the dishes. Please, not now." He got the paper towel and went back to the living room, vexed. When she was finished with cleaning up the kitchen, she went into the bedroom. Roland went in shortly after, and in no more than roughly 45 seconds, his voice could be heard saying, "Take off your clothes and give it to me." And Lisa responded, "Come on, honey, please don't do this right now." Roland's voice got louder, saying, "Shut up! How long you want me to wait? Give it to me now." Roland had gone into the room and took up Lisa's blouse from the bed and demanded her pants that she was wearing, the sexy pants. Eventually, Lisa took off her expensive, brand new, sexy fitting pants that she was wearing for the first time and gave it to him. He grabbed it from her and said, "Next time you're leaving the house, make sure I know what you're wearing. You hear me?" Lisa replied softly, "I will." She was now on her knees in the bed, naked with her hands covering her breasts, hoping he would not ask for her matching dark red lace bra and panties. He stood there with the blouse in one hand and the pants, staring at her. The dark red lace against Lisa's sexy chocolate body made his jealous rage disappear and began to turn into lust. He could not look at her much longer without wanting her body, and his pride would not allow him to beg. He didn't want Lisa to know that she was so irresistible and made him weak. He threw the clothes on the bed and said, "Next time you are wearing them, make sure I am with you." He began to walk out of the room, not knowing that Lisa saw the look in his eyes. She quickly picked up her clothes, held them to her chest, and said, "Thanks, baby. I love you." Let me behave myself. He exited the room, slamming the door. 3 weeks later, Lisa was sweeping the living room. When she was finished, she went into the kitchen to empty the dustpan and put away the broom. Then she went into the bathroom to wash her hands. She walked up to the basin, turned on the water, pumped the soap from the dispenser. As she rubbed her hands together, she looked in the mirror and suddenly looked away. As if she had been forced against her will, she slowly turned her face back toward the mirror. She did not remember she had soap on her hands until she saw her reflection in the mirror. When she tried to remove her hair from her lovely battered face, she started recognizing the bruises. As she moved closer to the mirror, she could see the mark of Roland's fingers across her cheek. She was very surprised because she looked in the mirror earlier and she had a light mark, but it was not so pronounced at the time. Her face felt sore, but she did not know it would be that swollen hours later. Her left eye was puffy. Her forehead had a big bump, and Roland's fingers, once again, was printed across her jaw. Feeling sorry for herself, tears fell from her eyes. She quickly washed her hands. She poured cold water on her washcloth and used it to pat her face. The beautiful battered woman walked to the living room and sat on the couch. Staring into space, she cried. The expression on her face was as if she was silently asking God for deliverance. Tears running down her face, she felt so hopeless because she knew that if she left him, he would find her. And deep in her heart, she knew she still loved him. Lisa felt like all the energy was drained from her body. She laid back and stretched her legs across the leather couch, one foot on the couch and one foot on her burgundy carpeted floor. She propped her head up with a cushion and laid there feeling sorry for herself. Her phone in her back pocket started to ring. She put it on the couch beside her without looking at it, hoping it would stop ringing and the caller would leave a message because she was in no mood to speak to anyone. She was so used to Roland calling from work to apologize after an abuse. But this time, he was the last person she wanted to talk to. The phone kept on ringing over and over again. The person would not give up. Lisa looked at her phone and realized that it was her hairdresser, Sandy Jones. So she decided to take the call. She tried to hide her true feelings and pretended that everything was fine. "Hey, girl," she said, trying to cheer herself up. Sandy replied, "Hey, what's up? I was calling to see if you were okay because you did not keep your regular appointment. Is everything okay?" Lisa said, "Yeah, man, I'm fine. I am good." She tried her best to tolerate the pain of her aching face while she talked. Sandy was not convinced that all is well. So she said, "Your voice sounds kind of low, but whatever it is, don't let it get the better of you. Would you like to rebook that appointment that you missed, Lisa?" Eventually, Lisa realized that Sandy knew something was wrong, so she began to open up a little. "To tell you the truth, I don't know right now. I am not in the mood." Sandy started to inquire, "Is something wrong? Your husband cheating on you?" she said jokingly. Lisa responded with confidence, "No, man. Him love me too much for cheat on me." Sandy continued her investigation. "So why you sound like that? You want to talk about it?" Lisa opened up a little more. "I don't know." She paused to think if she was about to say too much, but Sandy was not just her hairdresser for years. Sandy was more of a friend, so she decided to continue. "He can be so nice sometime, but him hard to live with. Don't get me wrong, he takes good care of me. He stopped me from working, but I am not happy in this relationship." Sandy became even more concerned and said, "Lisa, life too short if you don't love him. Leave him and find who or whatever will make you happy." Lisa got defensive really fast. "No, man, I love him. I really and truly love him, but he's just so jealous. He don't want me to wear any sexy clothes unless we're together, and if him sees somebody admiring me, him get mad." So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to stop there for part 2 of Strong Love. So, my dear, after we finish this story or sometime in between takes, we're going to discuss this kind of abusive relationship. You know what I'm saying? So many times women get red flags. Red flag, red blanket, red sheet, red towel, red baggy, red everything. But them ignore the sign, me I tell you, and them push through. And it is not always a pleasant experience. So, with that being said, be careful. And if the situation gets really out of control, seek help. Talk to someone. Tell someone of what you're going through. My darling, abuse goes both ways. Men get abused and women get abused. But know the signs and seek help. And never tell that abuser that you're leaving them. Jim Screechy, get out of there like sleeping with the enemy. It's a laugh, but it's a serious matter. You know how we stay take bad thing make laugh. Anyway, so we've come to the end of part 2, and I hope you're tuning in. And I'm gonna can't say a little something on the thing, man. So give a little comment. Tell me if you don't like the story or don't like the story. And make me feel like a me one just a talk to and talk back to me. That don't look good, Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end, as I've said before, of Strong Love, part 2, written by Donovan Chin. So, all you take it easy because I tired and I go into my bed. But I thank you so much for listening. Adios. Dos vidania. Cachifo. Au revoir. Sayonara. And I'm out. Thank you so much for listening to Storytime with Diane Dixon. Next time for part 3.